Hello and good morning to Coaching Conversations. This is another episode that we're digging into today. I've got some juicy topics or juicy questions that I'm going to be firing at Nick this morning. But before we roll into anything juicy, I just want to say good morning, Nick. How are you today?
No, very good. Well, Monday is always a good day. It starts the week. I always like Monday because it's all possibility for the week. So
all possibility.
All good.
Good. All right, well, let's jump straight into our first topic for today, or our first question. Now, this is something that people don't necessarily focus on or think about too often, but it could be the game changer for your business if you put some time and effort into it. So my question to you, Nick, is what's your best piece of advice around competitive advantage? And what should I be focusing on if I'm looking at that in my business?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a broad question, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
I think about it like this. I always like the saying, round peg, round hole. Too many businesses, what they're trying to do is get a square peg and bash it down into a round hole, and hopefully it fits. We just do things like this and there's no alteration. That's how you get it. You can't, alter the menu, so to speak. But the truth of the matter, I believe, especially today, we're shooting this podcast post-COVID or, through COVID. And in 2020, the world has changed. My biggest piece of advice would be, first of all, how do you become the round peg for somebody's round hole? So in other words, how do we ensure to make sure that whatever it is we're doing from a competitive advantage point of view, you're actually meeting your customer on their needs and wants? Because at the end of the day, you can have the world's best product with the world's best service, and unfortunately your competitive edge isn't there because your competitor has just got one little tweak that just everybody loves. Let me share this with you perfectly. So there's a place that they sell Vietnamese pork rolls, all right? And I know it's a bit out there, right? Vietnamese pork rolls.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this one.
Right. Yeah. And there's one place in Marrickville, and then there's another place at Mascot, right? Not related. This place at Marrickville, I'm not joking, you can't even fit 4 people in the shop. There's one guy that has to kind of stand outside the shop. Now, 4 doors up, there's the same they're called banh mi's, same place, but it's just not, it hasn't just got a vibe to it. Now, with these guys, they'll change anything you want. As long as you give them the $10, hey, they'll, tip it upside down if that's what you want. Now, why am I saying that? It's only something small, but the competitive advantage there is, first of all, they're the first people that you turn into after the block. So location is critical, right? From a competitive advantage, especially if you've got a retail shop front like that. Number 2, they've had the same product for I don't know how many years. That's just all they do. And number 3, they're happy to suit your needs because for them, at the end of the day, as long as it consists of something like a pork roll, they're pretty cool with that, right? And now, the other competitive advantage is everything's under $10. So you get a drink and a pork roll, regardless. They've got 3 different sort of pork rolls. Right. They're all $10, right? So it's easy. It makes it easy for the consumer to go, here's $10, right? The one at Mascot, I think they're like $8. So I like a gold coin return, right? Easy to flow through. Same thing, competitive advantage right there, right? So something small like that. So I suppose the piece of advice that I'd like to kind of give around competitive advantage is, first of all, ask your client, what would be their wish list? What would be the best way for you to be able to deliver their service, your service to them or your product to them? Is it that they, let's say, I don't know, if you're in the furniture business, is it that, hey, you could deliver after hours because everybody's working and they don't need to take the day off? And you could say, hey, our delivery start at, 5 p.m. in the afternoon and go till 9 o'clock when people are kind of at home, right? They've got the kids and doing all that stuff. Can it be something along the lines of saying, hey, we can give you a couch that you can use for now, and then when we come and deliver the new couch, because usually it takes like 6 or 8 weeks for a couch, some longer, 12 weeks, depending if it's imported or whatever. Can they give you something that's, of good standard? It could be somebody else's couch that they've taken, recycled it, and there you go there. And interesting enough, I reckon in that furniture business for couches, somebody needs to come up with this idea, because what do you do with your couch? Most of the times it's can't do much. So if there was a recycling opportunity, or hey, they take it and then we ship it to third world countries, right? that would be another good opportunity as well there. So once again, that's competitive advantage. We take the couch off you, we give it to somebody that is probably in need of it, just as much as you, and we just do that all for free. I mean, how cool is that little part? And believe you me, I think to be able to ship it and all the rest of the stuff, if you're going to charge 100, 150 bucks for delivery or pickup, if you could include that in the cost, it's a feel good. It's great for promotion. It's just a good win-win all the way around. So
yeah. So if you're in the couch business, you should be right.
Just giving you a great strategy. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, do you know what I mean? Like it's that little competitive advantage makes all the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned one thing there, Nick, which I think is, I'll say, game changer again for competitive advantage, which is making things easy to purchase. The easier you can make it for your client to purchase from you, the easier it is going to be for them to buy from you. So I want to use, there's a mattress supplier in Australia called Koala. So I think it's koala.com or koala.com.au. They've made it ridiculously easy to buy a mattress. So traditionally buying a mattress is, you got to go to, a store like Harvey Norman's or something, walk around, you lie on 50 mattresses. They all kind of feel the same after the third one.
Yeah, like lying on it for 3 minutes makes go, oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is the best one. So and they've got
the softest one or whatever.
That's it. And then you kind of got, I think it's 40 Winks or the other ones that have it's like the sleep system where you lie down and it kind of contours your body, and I think it's a bit of a gimmick, but it's their competitive advantage. But Koala's nailed it, because you can go online. Everything's online, by the way, no store. They ship it to you. I think it's within 12 hours if you live metro areas or spaces. Anyway, same day delivery, if not the next day. You try it for 120 nights, and if you hate it, you call them, they'll come and get it again. Like, it's eliminated all the risk, but they've made it ridiculously easy for people to buy from them. And if you go to koala.com or koala.com.au, whichever you go,
competitive edge, right? Make it easy.
Make it.
And very rarely, it'll be interesting to see. I reckon their stats are really low on how many people actually return it back, because it's more of a hassle to return it back than adjusting yourself to the mattress.
Yeah. Well, they've got the option. Like, we'll just
got the option. People feel good. Yeah. It's like our competitive advantage. You got 1 month to love it or leave it. Like, you're gonna know, right? And then we come with the next agreement, with the next guarantee.
Yeah. So there we go. If there's one thing you're looking for from a competitor, and I wrote down a few things when you were speaking there, Nick. So location, nailing one thing and doing it really well. And if there's anything that we've been kind of uncovered today, it's making it ridiculously easy for your customer to purchase from you. How are your competitors making it easy or difficult to buy from you, and how do you make it easier?
Yeah, I got one more. I was just thinking about this. One of my tiling companies changed their process and said, from now on, we give a lifetime warranty instead of the 7-year warranty on the new sort of bathroom. Lifetime warranty as long as the person lives in the house, right?
Yeah.
If they sell the house, then obviously, it's the next person.
Yeah.
And they approached Harvey Norman as a company, and as soon as the guy goes, he goes, mate, did I hear that correctly? Did you just say lifetime? He said, yeah. He said, as long as people stay in the house, we'll warrant a lifetime warranty, and every 6 months we go in there and do a quick inspection, make sure everything's cool. Is the grout still okay? Is the water, is it leaking? Is it all of these little things, which, there's a whole other competitive advantage there. But Harvey Norman, the guys from Harvey Norman, that's a superstore, which is the biggest it's probably one of the biggest in Australia, now goes, hey, I'm going to start giving you leads, and they've already got 4 leads at $30,000 to $40,000 a bathroom.
Wow.
It's insane, just that one shift. And most product is warranted for 7 years, and most people now change houses every 10. So you're pretty much right. It's just that little edge that I taught them, they'll get all the work now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Right? I was even thinking, well, when you mentioned client, I know that it can be really simple for competitive advantage too. And if you're listening and you're like, oh, I can't think of anything, I worked with a bodybuilder for trucks years ago, and we changed the game through providing complimentary pickup and drop off, because usually truck companies or the dealerships need to drive their truck to us, then we do the welding and fix the body and then send it back, but they've got to pay for 2 employees to drive the truck over, drop it off. It's a bit of a cut into their time, but it costs them money.
Yeah.
But we literally just turned it around and factored that price that the owner and the apprentice would then go out and pick up the truck, bring it back, we do all the work, and then we take it back. So it's like a complimentary pickup and drop-off service.
No hassle to the person on the other end.
No hassle to the dealerships or the owners. And as a result, they were like, well, traditionally, we've always had to drop the truck off. And that's probably most, pretty common in any form of engineering or truck game. So we just turned it around and said, we'll just come pick it up and drop it off whenever you like.
Whenever you like.
And they were like, wow.
Yeah.
Immediately, we started to see a change.
Yeah. Another one of my mechanics, they wash and detail the car every single time that the client drops it off. So whether they're doing a $100 repair or a $10,000 repair, the car, before the client comes and picks it up, gets washed, vacuumed, tires blackened, all that stuff, the little smelly tree on the inside.
Yeah.
Yep, those notorious nasty things.
Yeah,
but, like how cool is that where your car gets clean?
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many reviews that he's just had from that. One small competitive edge. He's got a guy full time, like $700 a week or whatever, and that's all he does. Keeps a workshop, it's spotless, and
yeah, wow.
It's like if you break it down over 20, 30 cars a week, it's peanuts. It pays for his wage. It's like $20 a car. You couldn't even wash it for $20, and he does that and keeps everything clean and goes picks up trucks and same things.
So there's the tip, guys. Keep it really simple. It can be very basic to gain a competitive advantage. You just need to look at what your competitors are doing and do one or two things slightly better. But really, making it easy for your customer to buy from you, or making it easier, is definitely a great strategy. So hopefully you got some value out of that, and you've been thinking about some ideas that you can throw into your business. Well, let's jump into the next topic quickly.
Yep.
Let's say I'm in a business where I have suppliers, Nick, and I might be struggling with a little bit of cash flow issue at the moment, or I'm just trying to get on top of things. What would be some advice around negotiating terms with some of my suppliers so that I can get back on top? Like, what's a strategy I can use?
Perfect. It's funny. I was just talking to a client literally on Friday about this exact topic. So and I gave him a few different opportunities here. Number one, think about it like this. Each supplier has got X amount of percentage profitability in the product. So give or take, anywhere from 10% to 30% to 50% to whatever percent. Now, a really good way for, businesses to do that is most businesses do cost plus 10%, cost plus 15, whatever it may be, where it comes to materials, right? And in some cases, it's a bit more. So there's two ways to go about this. Number one is you could think about it as a fluctuating margin. So which goes, let's say for a mechanic on a sump plug washer, those things are like 10 cents. That's what they get them for. Yeah. You could charge $3, and I've got no idea what a sump plug washer is worth, and probably you don't either. No. So on 10 cents, I've made a quadrillion % in profit. It's $3, and you can do that with a whole bunch of other products per se. And then you've got a margin that you can put away. So that margin then goes, hey, when I need it for the next order, I can negotiate terms, and I've got the money already. Part two, which I think is even more effective, is to go, all right, roughly, I know that you're probably 20% or 30% supplier. Can I give you an extra 5% or 10% on top of whatever it is that you're supplying me? Now, remember, most businesses make it up in the labor, or they'll make it up at some levels. You can increase, 3 or 4 or 5% from that, or you could actually decrease. Let's say if you're using subcontractors, you might be able to go, hey, I need you to help me out 2 or 3% on whatever you're quoting. So now I've taken 2 or 3% from there. I've taken 2 or 3% and added it to my labor. So now I've got a 6 to 10% margin that I can actually use for the product itself, right? So I'm going to the supplier, hey, charge me an extra 10%, but hold me for 45 days instead of 30 days. And most accounts are 30 days. You know what I mean?
Yes, they are, yeah.
So you go, give me an extra 15 days, because usually the furthest that somebody gets paid is usually 30 days from end of month. So let's say if I, do the job on the 1st of July, I finish it on the 10th of July. I can't put the invoice in for that job until the 25th of July. and then it's another 30 days after the 25th of July.
Right.
That's the worst kind of scenario, right? So if you sort of add the 15 days plus the 30 days, it's roughly 45, and it gives you roughly the time of where you need to pay the supplier. And then number 3 would be, so basically you're increasing the margin to the supplier for them to use their own bank that you can, stretch out, if you want to think about it.
Right.
And then number 3, that's really cool as well, is, in some cases you can split payment for the product itself. So to go, I'll have a progressive account, give me $100,000 credit, and I'll keep that credit below, 80,000 at all time. So you've got a 20K buffer that you can use, but you can't order any parts further than the 20 grand. You know what I mean? So
yeah, sure.
It's better opportunity for you for scheduling, which then helps their cash flow, helps your cash flow, and they're good. So they're kind of 3 things. And if you want to really then go to the next level, depending on how big the company is, there's lenders that will lend you money, for product itself. So to purchase supplies, whether it's going to be, containers out of Asia or, stuff out of the US or whatever it is. And they can lend you that money from that and then go from there, right? So you could, let's say, borrow money at 5%, for that product, negotiate terms on going, hey, I'm happy to pay you COD if you can then help me out, 10%, 15%. Whatever their margin is, you can negotiate with that. And you can use that fluctuating money that you've gotten from them to purchase product. And then finally, I thought I was going to give you one, but I'm going to give you 5. Paying by credit card is another really good opportunity because you get 55 days. Think the longest cycle of payment outstanding will be 45 days. You just got to get good at management of that. Yeah. So, if you've got 55 days, you're good to go. Yeah.
That's good. So let's talk about management of. So obviously cash flow is one of those things that you really need to manage tightly if you want to make sure that you can negotiate with suppliers and pay back on credit cards and that sort of thing. You've given 5 kind of good tips there. Yeah. So in terms of cash flow, what's your best cash flow tip? And we'll only grab one.
Yeah, but I'll give you, I've got 10, but yeah, I'll give you one.
You've got 10, but we'll grab one. Maybe 2 if you can squeeze it in. But what's your best cash flow tip to help leverage the payment back or negotiating terms with your suppliers? So what's your best cash flow tip?
Yeah, look, I think a really good cash flow tip is, I believe that you need to start adding a load to every job that you do. So here's an example. Let's say, the job's $2,000. It's going to cost you $1,000. That's $1,000 GP, on that. Let's say if it's at 30%, you're probably 300 net, give or take. Actually, 600 net. 300 net on 1,000. I believe that if you start adding a load, so the load would be, instead of it owing you 1,000, you add 10%, so it actually owes you 1,100 now. Right. So you're making, $30 less on the 300 at 30%, and each one of those loads accumulated, you separate the load money. So you take the 100, you put it into a different bank account, and what you start to do is you can't touch that unless you're having a heart attack or a stroke. That would be the ultimate in starting to build cash flow, because cash flow is simple. It's just cash on hand that you need, income in versus, out.
Right. So what do you say to people that struggle with the pricing game? I know that you're saying build load into your pricing. So we might be adding, in that scenario, it's like an extra 10% to the 1,000, you're adding 100 on. What would be the advice to someone who's really, their first objection to this conversation is, but it's always about the lowest dollar or the lowest price?
I think that's a great question. At the end of the day, there's 2 reasons why businesses suffer with cash flow. Number one, when they've set up their finances, when they've opened their business, they're severely underfunded. So you're always playing catch up.
Yeah.
Number 2 is that you've had growth, right? So or number 3, you haven't managed money well. But and let me give you an example. Some people, instead of getting loans for equipment, they'll just go out and pay it cash. 30 grand for the truck. Right. And all you've done there is you've killed your cash flow rather than managed it, because they've got this thing behind them going, no, I don't want to get any loans. It's just
sure.
Or in some cases, obviously they can't. So my thing would be, sooner or later, you need to inject some type of money or gather some type of money somehow. So if you're still margin, the biggest thing that I'm trying to bring across here is it's not the amount, it's the practice of adding and or subtracting some money, right? The book, The Richest Man in Babylon, said, take 10% of everything that you earn and put it away. In some cases, 10% is undoable.
That's a lot.
It's too hard to do. But 1% would be, 2% would be, it just takes you a longer time. You know, on 10 grand, 10% is $1,000, 3% is 300. And sooner or later, it starts to grow, and it just helps. And the biggest thing I find with business is financial illiteracy. You know, they've left it to somebody else to manage their money, and now they're in hot water. And we've been through this ourselves. You know, and it happens. You know, there's hundreds of thousands going in and out, millions at the end of the year, and it happens whether you're a rural small business or high. At the end of the day, I think about it like this, and people can probably listen to it this way. If you're driving to Perth, regardless of how good the car is, you need the fuel to put it in there. And you can't leave Sydney and put $30 in and hope to get to Perth. And this is how most businesses are operating. They're trying to squeeze a rag of petrol to try to do something that's too hard. But if you've got, you know, $500 in fuel or whatever it is to drive to Perth, you're okay. So you need to kind of be prepared for that. And it's just a slow accumulation of doing it. Is there options to go to Perth? Yeah, you could probably go with a hybrid, cost you less fuel, or maybe you need to hop on a train because that form of transport suits what your business is at the moment.
And then you can completely. And the loading, you know, you can leverage compounding or the use of compounding. Yes, it's going to take a bit longer, but you'll still build a little bit of a reserve.
Correct.
So
100%.
That's great. Awesome. Well, I hope for those of you that are kind of struggling with supplies or cash flow, you got some great advice out of that. That pretty much wraps up our episode today. And I know that you touched on, financial literacy. I'm going to do a complete and utter plug here. If you want to find out more about how to manage finances and things better, yell out to us, shoot us an email, ask@upcoach.com.au. Ask us for our July edition of the Upcoach magazine because we're dedicating it to finance. It hasn't been released yet. It's obviously coming out in July, but we have written a whole magazine all around managing your finances. So if you need an additional copy of that, please don't hesitate to let us know. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover on this podcast as well, please reach out to us at ask@upcoach.com.au. Nick, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
And we'll see you all again and speak to you all again real soon. Bye now.
Have a good one.